Salutations, everybody. Welcome to episode 282 of the Hoots Podcast. 18 episodes away from reaching 300. It's yours truly, Joshie Lopez, a.k.a. the Nefarious Brett Adam. You can follow me on Twitter at Josh Lopez Media. By the way, spam at Twitter support, hashtag free the Hoots Podcast. It's November. My account got suspended in February. This still is grade A homogenized Holstein bullshit. Free the Hoots Podcast for the love of God. Anyways, make sure to subscribe to the podcast right now. Since your first time listening to the show, thank you for giving us an opportunity. I want you guys to know and feel like I'm sitting next to you and we're talking about wrestling and life in general. This is not your Sports Center show. I'm not going to do a routine with Alvarez and Seltzer. This is not what this podcast is. We're here to have some fun and hope you gain some life lessons along the way with the podcast. That's our goal each and every single week, and we thank you for the support. Also, you can hit me up on Instagram if you'd like at Joshie Lopez 94, at Josh Lopez Music for my guitar covers. Bookmark, ProWrestlingTransfusions.com. There's a lot of wrestling events coming up in this month alone. Got to start the Best of Super Juniors tournament with the World Tag League on the side. So it's like two tournaments going on at the same time for New Japan. I'm going to be doing that at the same time. There's a lot of shows on that end. Full Gear's coming up a week from Saturday. We got Survivor Series down the road in Brooklyn. There's a lot of shit going on in professional wrestling. So make sure to check out ProWrestlingTransfusions.com. And for those who use Apple Podcasts, you could leave us an honest review and rating of the show. We want to gauge what you guys like or dislike about the podcast. I'm always open to constructive criticism. Just because we've been doing the show for 6 years doesn't mean we can take ourselves to the next level. So I appreciate the weekly listenership. I see the numbers. You guys are killing it. We're almost up to 400,000 plays and downloads on Anchor, which is insane. And it's all thanks to you guys. So thank you for the support. I am not alone this week. We will have Brother Carter. Not only did he send a submission for what the hell is wrong with AEW this week, he also sent us a clip for the Thoughts of Dericho, which you'll hear at the end of this broadcast. But I am not alone on this part of the podcast. I am joined by a good brother of all good brothers. We've had a lot of good brothers over the years that have co-hosts sitting in that co-host chair. And I'm glad to welcome for the first time on the Hoots Podcast as a co-host, the one and only Sam Pioppo, a.k.a. at Second City Sam, the hot take master. I did name the title of this episode, the one with the hot takes. Try to play off the friends bit, but this guy's one of my best friends here in the city of Chicago. We went to school together at the Illinois Media School. Sam's a very talented guy. He, just like me, he speaks off the cuff and he speaks for himself. And you're in for a fun treat, ladies and gentlemen. Sam, welcome to the Hoots Podcast. What's going on, my man?
Oh, man, I'm happy to be here, Josh. It's been a long time coming. I've been wanting to do this for quite a long time.
Now, really quick, for those who don't know, Sam's a big hockey fan, just like myself. We're Hawks fans. And Sam recently wrote an article, which you should check out. Tell everybody where to check out your thoughts on where the Blackhawks are at.
Yeah, I submitted an article in the website that I actually created at Illinois Media School, and I used to write all the time. Haven't gotten into it lately because of work and whatnot, but being laid up with this hand injury, I got back onto my WordPress account and submitted an article called the Chicago Blackhawks Fall from Grace, and you can find that at secondcitysam.wordpress.com. It's every step of where the Blackhawks went wrong since that 2015 Stanley Cup championship, and it just kind of highlights what happened to this organization and where this nosedive of a fall has come from.
It's really unfortunate, man, and I think this whole saying about karma is really true. What goes around comes around. I think that's probably one of the truest sentiments in life. I think there's a lot of cliche sayings in life that don't really live up to what really is, and like ideologies and philosophies and stuff like that. But one thing that's always been consistent is the fact that things come around when you make stupid decisions and not act accordingly when something is wrong. And you did a great job speaking from the heart as a fan and your passion for the team. The fact that you're not coming off as a irrational fan, like you know what you're talking about. I know how dedicated you are and how detailed you like pay attention to what goes into a hockey game and stuff like that. Like you're not fooling around. Like it's just like our show. Like I'm in the lucky position that I get to cover professional wrestling for a living, and I cover the matches. And a lot of people will reach out to me like, "Why are you so detailed on the referees? And why are you always talking about that? And what the hell is wrong with AEW?" It's because I'm one of the few wrestling media members who actually analyzes the wrestling that's going on instead of spending the entire time trying to talk about booking and shit that doesn't matter with the show. You know what I mean? So with you, it's a totally different thing. I'm covering entertainment. You're paying attention to sports thing. You in that realm, yeah, you could question the coach's decisions for why things are acting up and everything that's going on outside of the ice rink and all that. Is just embarrassing. It's been really rough over the last couple of weeks, but hopefully there's some silver lining down the road. But I really recommend you guys go check out Sam's article. It's really well detailed and well written. So props to you, brother, man.
Appreciate that, my man.
So we got a lot to get into this week. So I guess we should start as we usually do with the Good Birds Q&A session. As always, if you want to participate in this fun extravaganza, all you have to do is hit me up at Twitter at Josh Lopez Media or email me to hootspodcast@gmail.com. Pretty simple way to hit us up, and you can ask about anything. Talk about mental health. I talk about relationships, sports, wrestling, and we got a couple questions this week from the usual suspects. We got Chris Zaletta, who's coming up first, and then we'll follow that up with Nate the Great, an unfortunate Viking fan. We'll get that a little bit. We'll start off with Chris here. You follow Chris on Twitter at XCZaletta24X on Twitter. He says, "What up, Boost? Here's some questions for the Q&A this week." And Sam's going to participate in this one as well. Do you think we'll see any college football coaches make the jump to the NFL this offseason? Sam, I'm going to pass this one off to you because you watch college football more than I do. Is there anybody out there that catches your eye that thinks that could fit that role?
If I had to pick somebody, and it could just be because I'm a Bears fan, but if they were to fire Matt Nagy at some point,
yeah,
I'd say keep an eye out for Ryan Day, former Ohio State, head coach, obviously very well known with Justin Fields. He helped, progress Justin Fields to where he was at Ohio State. So, if I could see anyone, if the Bears were to part ways, I would be willing to bet that they would at least give him a phone call. Other than that, it seems like everyone in college right now is pretty comfortable with where they're at. Mel Tucker's doing a really good job at Michigan State. He was a former Bears defensive coordinator. I don't know if he'd be looking to get back in the NFL. Jim Harbaugh just needs to stay in college.
I'm happy for Mel Tucker, by the way. That guy
I am too.
So much grief. It's not his fault that he had the shittiest roster and defensive roster on God's green earth.
Chris Conti, major right. Yeah, I hear you. But other than that, man, I don't foresee anybody really making that transition from college to the NFL. But it could go back the other way, especially with that schmuck over there in Jacksonville. Who knows?
Oh God, Urban.
He may just say forget about it and go back to college.
What a clown show! I mean, you got more action out of football fuckery from AEW than you got from Jaguars this season.
Yeah, seriously.
The funny thing is, I would be surprised if Mr. Trubisky throws a touchdown this weekend because the Bills are playing in Jacksonville this Sunday. That's gonna be a rout.
Oh my
That's
God.
gonna be ugly.
Is it ever? Yeah, Mitch might be in by halftime. Who the hell knows?
Right. All right, next question. Let's see what we got here. I know a lot of people recommend Pat Fitzgerald, who's Northwestern coach. That's my favorite college football team. I always enjoyed it because my mom used to work out in that area, that Skokie area where the Wildcats play. And when I was younger, when it came to sports teams, I would attach it to different logos. I was really huge into the Diamondbacks when I was a kid.
Really?
Kurt Schilling, Luis Gonzalez at the time, Randy Johnson. The 2001 Diamondbacks is one of the best baseball teams of all time, but nobody ever talks about it.
Yeah.
I think, especially that World Series is one of the best World Series of all time.
Absolutely.
Given the unfortunate circumstances, but that's still class. I have a DVD. I miss when MLB would like sell the really good World Series documentaries. Now they're kind of like thrown together clips that you can see on YouTube. But like the storytelling in that one was just amazing.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, it couldn't have ended in much more of a suspenseful way either. And honestly, I feel like that's my like first memory of a World Series. That series, because I mean, that was 2001. I was only about 5 years old, but I remember watching that World Series, and I couldn't even tell you who was in the World Series in 2000. I really think that was the first one I ever really watched, and from there I was hooked.
Yep. Let's see what else we got here from Chris. He says, "What are you looking forward to this MLB off season move wise?" By the way, shout out to the Atlanta Braves. Shout out to the Atlanta Braves for hammering down the Houston Astros in royal fashion, may I say. The fact that the Astros lost 2 World Series on shutouts, once my White Sox back in 2005, and then what happened the other night. It was just apropos for that shitty organization. And I know Danny Zetterman from ESPN 1000 is probably like marking out right now because Dusty Baker flopped once again in the World Series. But this could be a very interesting offseason because I saw the betting odds as far as like favorites to win the World Series next year. Obviously, you have your perennial people like the Yankees and the Dodgers. It's so amazing. The Yankees haven't won a World Series since 2009, yet they're always betted as they really are the Cowboys of baseball.
Oh my God, it's like an exact replica, dude.
Yeah, it's brutal. But like for me, I'm really interested to see who's going to come off the market. And you know, San Diego, I don't know how they're going to get out of their financial situation once these contracts run out. Like, talking about really going on a limb and trying to say, like, hey, this is my guy, and we're going to spend $600 million on Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis, good players, but it's a real risk out there. But like, for you, who are you excited to see? I don't really know off the top of my head who are actual free agents right now in MLB. So who do you think could really make some noise team-wise for the offseason?
Once again, I mean, not trying to be biased here, but my guys, the Cubs, are expected to be big players in the free agent market, especially, you know, after selling away each and every good player that they had last year, but and years before that. But, you know, one guy I'm really looking at right now is Carlos Correa, coming off that, you know, tough World Series loss. He doesn't look like he's going to return to the Astros. And, you know, somebody's going to be a big player for him. Marcus Stroman is another guy that I could see going for you know, a good amount of money there.
Chris Bryant.
Yeah, I mean, you can really say all three of those former Cubs, Bryant, Rizzo, Baez, they're all free agents. So, I mean, you know, we've heard that, you know, Baez wants to stay with New York. You know, Rizzo wants to stay in New York. Didn't really hear much about what Bryant wants to do, but I would assume that at least 2 of those guys are going to be moving along to other teams because they're going to take, you know, the better offer. So it really depends on, you know, who's going to pay more.
Freddie Freeman. I heard. I think he probably goes back though.
You know, I would hope so. I didn't even realize that he was, you know, on the brink of, you know, leaving Atlanta. I really hope he doesn't, man. Freddie Freeman's one of my favorite players in the league.
Yeah, the only reason I found out that on Twitter because somebody's like, "Oh, here goes Joe Buck trying to bring down bad juju." I guess he brought it up during the broadcast.
Yeah, he did.
Possibly his final game.
Yeah, you know what? I am not a Joe Buck hater like I used to be. I actually respect that man's hustle, and you know what? It's a valid point. He brought it up, and you know it's got people talking.
I don't mind Joe Buck. It's better than hearing Tom Brenneman on my screen.
God.
What's the other one that we always get as Bears fans? Sam Rosen. Is that?
Yeah, that man's like ancient, isn't he?
Yeah, you know you're a bad football team when you have Sam Rosen calling your game.
I haven't seen him this year. Is he still around?
I don't know. I don't know if he retired or not.
Yeah, he needs to.
I don't know about you, but like the Fox like presentation, like visually and like the commentators, I don't mind Greg Olsen. I think he's done a decent job so far as starting out, but you can tell like he's like trying to find a niche for himself in the way he wants to analyze. But like just from my point of view, I feel like the analyst work on Fox has been like dropping the ball recently. And also, this is just me. I'm not a big Kevin Burkhardt fan when it comes to the NFL. When he does baseball stuff, I don't mind him, but I don't know. He seems a little over the top.
My favorite guy on Fox is easily Gus Johnson. I love him.
He's tremendous.
He's so good.
Mm-hmm. There's no, you know how I talk about it with AEW, they got the worst commentary booth. In football, it's not close. It's the Monday Night Football crew. It's rough.
I mute them. I don't even listen to their broadcast anymore. It's really bad.
We're gonna get to Monday Night Football really soon. I can't really get to this. All right, next question, Chris. He says, biggest disappointments and surprises this NFL season. Good question. I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily surprised, but Arizona Cardinals is their team that pops out in my head just with their record. I know they're gonna be a good team, but being 7-1, I know they lost to the Packers last week, but like they're definitely one that stands out for sure. Disappointment, I'll say the Chargers right now. I like Justin Herbert, don't get me wrong. It's just, I don't know if it's like a Philip Rivers curse or something where they always have to have like some fourth quarter comeback. It's like I don't know. I like Brandon Staley, who used to be the outside linebackers coach for the Bears. I think he's doing a good job so far as rookie, but like maybe I was expecting a little bit more than I was from the Chargers. Dolphins are definitely, as far as like disappointments.
Yeah, big time.
They're 1-7, and they didn't make the playoffs last year, right? I think they
did.
Close.
10-6. I think they made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. But there's a couple other teams. Obviously, Seattle's a disappointment, but that's unfortunate due to the fact that Russell Wilson got injured. You know, them blowing out the Jaguars last week is not really saying much. I mean, the Jaguars could get blown out by anybody.
Yeah.
Dude, they got blown out by Geno Smith last week.
Hey, Geno's pulling the hustle, man. He's pulling the hustle.
What about you? From good or bad, which surprise is disappointing for you, Sam?
I think a good surprise for me has been the New Orleans Saints. I didn't think they'd be anywhere near as good without Drew Brees. And obviously now with Jameis Winston going down, it's going to be a tough road. But, I mean, they look really good, man. I mean, you still got Alvin Kamara, no Michael Thomas either. And their defense is pretty rock solid with Cam Jordan. For me, I thought they were going to be below 500 by now. So to see them succeeding like they are is pretty cool because, I mean, the Saints are my number 2. They always have been. But on the disappointing side, I mean, it's really not disappointing for me, but I would say for all of football, it's got to be the Kansas City Chiefs. Who expected them? You know, they were talking about an undefeated season before the season started. Now, what are they, 500 now?
Yeah, I think they're trading more Golden State territory than New England Patriots.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, they've been a huge.
It's looking like a fad right now, and like I'm not gonna come out here and be like, "Oh, Steve Mahomes is not the perfect guy." Everybody says, but like, this is one football that's undefeated. There's no guarantees in the NFL. I don't care what happens last year, the season before that. There's no guarantees in the NFL, and that defense sucks.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And you know what? How about we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the Raiders. You know, they're in first place. They're even with all the freaking controversy that's going on around them between Gruden and now Henry Ruggs. Yeah. I mean, they're still hanging in their first place team right now.
Yeah, shout out to the Paisan, Rich Bisaccia. Yes.
Yes.
We would say. Shout out to Rich Bisaccia. That's pretty cool. And shout out to Derek Carr. I mean, that guy gets a lot of flack, but I think he's been having a really good season so far. Let's see. Not really a surprise, but like the Lions being 0-8.
You know what, man? I feel bad.
You have no idea how bad I wanted them to beat the Eagles last week.
So
You
did
have
I.
no idea. Hashtag Philly is trash. Put that out on Twitter, everybody. Philly is trash.
Forever.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Oh, this is an interesting question. I want to get your thoughts on this one as well. Who are some guests you would like on the podcast in 2022? Man, that's a great question, Chris. I'd like to bring back somebody I interviewed in the past on my old radio show. I'd like to have Chris Van Vliet come back on the show. I think it'd be a fun conversation with him. Chris has done a lot of really good wrestling interviews over the last couple years. Big name for himself. I actually got to sit next to Chris Van Vliet at WrestleMania this past year in Tampa Bay. I got to meet him in person. Really cool dude. I love to have Chris back, and it'd be a fun conversation. Speaking of another Chris, I'd like to have Chris Sansa, who does the stats and info for New Japan. For Kevin Kelly, he's kind of like his stats and info guy. Chris does a lot of good work. He's actually from Chicago as well, so I'd love to have him on the show. Of course, I'd love to have Kevin Kelly on. I think that'd be pretty cool just to pick his brain from broadcaster's point of view, since I want to do like play-by-play commentary, and he's really been a big point of reference for me on the show. I'm going to blow everybody's mind right now, okay? I want Tony Khan on the Hoots Podcast in 2022. And I want him to explain to me what the fuck the identity is of his Mud Show. I want Tony Khan on the Hoots Podcast in 2022, okay? I'm open to anybody that's interesting who wants to come on and promote their work. Getting wrestling guests was kind of something that I kind of thrived on when I was at school. I actually I had a good run. I'd say like the first 2 years of the PW show, I was like have like 3 different interviews like every single week. I had a good run there. I was very fortunate. I struck a deal when Lucha Underground was getting hot, and I had like a kind of like a working relationship with them at that time. So to have like Chavo Guerrero and Matt Stryker and all these, I got to interview John Morrison before. Awesome dude, you know. I'd love to, Pat McAfee or
hell yeah.
There's a lot of people. I always say, like, if you ask me what's the number one person I want to interview, for me, it's obviously CM Punk, just because he's my idol. But there's a lot of people. But who you think would be a good guest on this show, Sam?
For me, I think I want to see some more referee Tony.
Oh yes,
and maybe some more of Andrew Baydala. That guy's he seems like he's really knowledgeable. He knows what he's talking about. And you guys got some good chemistry.
Yeah, shout out to Drew, the New York Stooge, as me and Blake Mitchmore like to call him, from the SME Network. What's going on, Drew? Yeah, Drew's awesome, man. I got to meet him in Tampa as well. He's an awesome dude. I'm glad to call him a friend and brother. He's been really a big advocate of this show and everything I'm doing. I really appreciate what Drew's done for the podcast and get to interact with guys like us. And he's really talented. You guys, he knows the ins and outs of the ticket business. He grew up from a work standpoint, and he knows what he's talking about. He's really, really good. And I don't have any new info, but I think we may be recording some new shows on S&E soon. No guarantees, but be on the lookout if we get back onto that group, because I had a lot of fun recording those shows with those guys, and they're very talented at what they do. Shout out, by the way, referee Tony. Any wrestling promotion, there's no wrestling promotions that have perfect referees. Please, somebody hire this guy for the love of God. That's a great question, Chris. I'm open to anybody, to be honest with you. Next question. 5 teams you would like to see the Briscoes face over the next few months? Yeah, that's a loaded question there. The Forbidden Door. There's not really a lot of tag teams from AEW I want to see him face. I guess you could throw out the obvious FTR and Lucha Brothers. I already seen them against the Hardly Boys a gazillion times, so I don't need to see that. Let's see. I like to see them against Tom Latimer and Chris Adonis, so Strictly Business from the NWA. I think that'd be a really good match. Impact's tag team division sucks ass. I can't really pick one team. Like if they like reunited the American Wolves with Eddie Edwards and David Richards, Eddie Edwards and David Richards, I think that'd be really cool. That'd be an awesome match. If they came to NXT or WWE, I like to see them against Imperium, the Grizzled Young Veterans, MSK, Usos, New Day. Also, I want to give a shout out to Pretty Deadly for doing some really good stuff. They're the current NXT UK Tag Team Champions. I know if you look at them on paper and see their gimmick, and they do like the whole Night of Roxbury gimmick, you know, Zoolander-esque like stick, but they're a really, really good tag team. If you guys are not watching NXT UK, you're definitely missing out. It's the best show that WWE produces each week, and it's a lot of fun to cover each week. So there's a lot of. What about you, bro?
You know what? Honestly, if they went to AEW, the only team I would think of as FTR. I don't really care for. I mean, I like the Lucha Bros. Maybe you throw in what we saw yesterday, Samurai Del Sol and Aerostar. Yeah. Other than that, because it seems like that's where they're going to head, right? AEW. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I mean, other than that, I don't. You know, I feel the same about the Young Bucks as you do. So I don't really need to see that. Other than that. Not too interested in possible matchups that could come about in AEW.
Yeah, and I was thinking maybe Pizarita Uno and Stu Grayson, but yeah, maybe we'll have to see about that. And no to the Acclaim. I'm gonna shut that down before anybody recommends the fucking Acclaim to me. Just stop. Max Caster can't rap to save his life. Next question. Who do you think will be the winner of the women's TBS title tournament? There's one person, and it should only be one person. Maybe one exception. I always like to throw an exception here and there. For me, it's Jade Cargill. I think from a presence and look point of view, I think she has everything you want. If your transition to TBS, you want to have for promotional things and stuff like that. Just with how they're presenting her right now, I think she'd be a good pick from that point of view, from a revenue standpoint. But if you want just like pure wrestler point of view, I'll go with Thunder Rosa. I know people would probably go say Ruby Soho, but I just think it'd be like, oh, here's somebody from WWE. Let's give them a title a couple months later. That's where my look at it is from that point of view. Like if she wins title, cool. I'm not gonna talk shit about it. It is what it is. But like you get where I come from with that, right?
Absolutely.
It's just too convenient that somebody from WWE gets a title automatically from AEW like 3 months later after signing with the company. It's kind of ridiculous. So, but I'll go with Jade Cargill or Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I would go with Thunder Rosa. I'm not a Jade Cargill fan at all. She does absolutely nothing for me, and I know you're the exact opposite. And she's got plenty of time for improving for me, but at the moment, I think Thunder Rosa has damn near everything you want. And for her to win that title, I think would solidify her in AEW, because besides the match with Britt Baker, she's such a quality name within the company, but she hasn't done a terrible amount of things.
Well, they keep stashing her on fucking Elevation and Dark.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it goes back to that whole notion about wins and losses matter. Thunder Rosa beat Britt Baker in that infamous hardcore match, yet Britt Baker is the one that got the title shot the next pay-per-view. It makes no fucking sense. So, anyways, by the way, when it comes to Jade Cargill, I will say this. Get rid of Mark Sterling. There's absolutely no purpose to her. Just get rid of the dude. Next question, though. Who would you like to see in wrestling in 2022? Oh, as far as like somebody that hasn't been around, that's a good question.
Yeah, it is.
You know what? For me, I would love to see a tag team match with Matt Riddle and Rob Van Dam. I think that would be pretty cool. Or even a match, if you will. Matt Riddle.
Dude,
Rob Van Dam.
That would be money. I would love that. Man, that's a tough question.
Does Trish Stratus versus Sasha Banks wet your beak or no? It doesn't for me.
I would be in for it. I mean, obviously the talent is there with Sasha. Trish, she's still in tremendous shape. I think that match would, make big money, honestly. Other than that, though, I mean, I think I'd like to see Kane have one more nice program before he rides into the sunset.
Yeah.
I don't know who it would be with, but Kane's always been one of my underrated favorites.
Yeah, me too.
So I'd like to see him have a nice, meaningful program before he rides off.
So we're gonna have Brother Carter back in the ring, right? He's gonna put on the mask. He's got the director of operations bug on the side too. So we're gonna have Brother Carter in the ring.
Hell yeah, I'm with it.
Yes. No, it's not. Yes, it's no. And I'm gonna continue to say no until they fucking debunk this Hardy family office.
God,
I think the core was better than the Hardy family office.
Now you're entering some unholy territory here, Josh.
With pro wrestling, we can't get much lower. Well, maybe we can. I mean, we got the Dungeon to do, for God's sakes. But
it sucks too because I've always been a Matt Hardy fan throughout my life, but just this whole thing ever since he joined AEW, man, it's just not working for me.
Shout out to the running lip man.
Yeah.
Yes. You know what? He hasn't been in wrestling, and I hope he's feeling better. But I would like to see Triple H get back.
Yeah.
He was not. I don't think he wrestled. He was supposed to have something with Randy Orton. I remember they were in the Thunderdome or something. They were going to have a match, but it ended up being like some type of brawl. It was kind of set up type of thing. But Triple H didn't have a match, so I would like to see Triple H getting back in the ring. I think that'd be cool.
I want him to have a program with AJ Styles just once. I just need that match. I don't know why I need it. I just need it.
I see that a lot. A lot of people want to see that match. I'll be curious about that too. I think that'd be. Hey, did he go to Mania in Orlando?
I did not know.
No, I was there for the Triple H. No, not Triple H. The AJ Styles Shane McMahon match.
Yeah,
that was kind of underrated one. We were talking about
very underrated.
Talking about Kane earlier. I was watching some Kane videos on YouTube the other day. They always have like these compilations of returns and stuff like that. They had this thing at Madison Square Garden where you remember the Un-Americans?
Yeah,
Christian and those guys. Like Kane came out, Hellfire and Brimstone, the old entrance song he had was all super dope. And Josh losing his mind. He's whooping some fucking Canadian ass.
I know exactly what you're talking about too. I think Booker T and Goldust were involved in that.
Yes.
Match. Yeah, I remember that.
Send them to hell.
Dude, classic JR was second to none.
Yes, he was golden during that time period.
Hell yeah.
All right, here you go. Let's give a shout out to the Minnesota Viking fan himself, Nate the Great, at Twitter at Psycho Nagiri. Make sure to follow him there. Another good brother. Who would you like to see face Jay White for the Denver Openweight title at Wrestle Kingdom? Good question. Man. I gotta choose wisely because I don't know when Jay's returned to Japan. He hasn't been in Japan since April or May. It's been a while. He's been doing a lot of stuff at the US shows and stuff like that. I would say Ishii, but him and Ishii are fighting at the next New Japan pay-per-view in San Jose. And it's crazy. They're doing Battle in the Valley. That's the name of the pay-per-view. They're doing the same night as Full Gear. And they got a better card than Full Gear right now, which is really telling. But I mean, it's hard to pick because there's a lot of different scenarios and who's going to be the champion at that time. It's kind of rough. You know what? If you want to stir up some beef or whatever, I'll have Kenta be the one fight Jay White at Wrestle Kingdom. Yeah, that would be my pick. I mean, you could go with Jeff Cobb, maybe Evil if you want to. I think they're gonna eventually get to that angle where Bullet Club is fighting with each other sooner or later. It's by the way, I think Bullet Club may rank as probably the dumbest running faction of all time, where you have 7 different subgroups, the Super Goof Squad, the Elite. I have that could be a whole nother show. Just talk about how ridiculous that group is.
It's never ending.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's something that will not end. Kind of like the McCaskies running the Bears. But all right. Let's get to the next one really quick. What would you like Kenta to do if anything come Wrestle Kingdom? Follow up. Why do you think they don't have him in the junior division? Well, I don't think Kenta needs to be in the junior division. I think you just run out of interesting opponents for him. Like, yeah, him and Hiromu Takahashi would be a good program, but I already saw that during the G1 tour. They had a good match, but I don't like. You're not going to have him get into a program with Bushi, El Desperado, Master Watso. My God, that's a brutal gimmick. I'm saying a lot of these things. I know this is going over Sam's head right now. But I just don't think you get enough legs for Kenta in the junior division. Keep him doing what he's doing. Hopefully Naito could return from his knee injury in time. Maybe Kenta can fight Naito at Wrestle Kingdom. That'd be my pick for that. But that's a good question, though, Nate. Here's another New Japan question. Who do you think New Japan stays away from? Why do you think New Japan stays away from gimmick and multi-man matches? I don't think they stay away from multi-man matches. I mean, you go through one New Japan show, there's at least 4 or 5 6-man or 8-man tag team matches. When people tell me, "Oh, I can't believe you can type out all the moves for an AEW 6-man tag team match," trust me, I have more practice than anybody in the world for typing out those type of matches. I do it all the time for New Japan shows. So, I think they probably don't do. I think they should embrace doing maybe some more fatal 4-ways, stuff like that, or triple threat matches. I think New Japan is very formulaic in their own way in how they set up their match cards. So unless it's like a pay-per-view, if it's like a regular show, Sam, for New Japan, they'll have like one major marquee match, and then like the rest of the card is 6-mans or 8-mans and just regular tag team matches. And I get it, you wanted to showcase them being tune-up matches, but when you're airing 3 specials during the week like that, and you don't do weekly TV, it's repeating the same match. Like I've seen Suzuki Gun versus Chaos 100 times since I've covered New Japan. Like it's nothing new to me. It's kind of like Seth Rollins against Dolph Ziggler or any rematches you've seen from the past, from any promotion. So I think to embrace separating what your cards look like can help them in the future. Like have a card where you do have a couple single matches, or maybe a 3-way to set up a number 1 contender or anything like that. But like, I think they stay away from gimmick matches because they don't want to be painted from the domestic U.S. point of view, like what we do here in the United States. They're very picky in Japan, and obviously that's their right to their own virtues, I guess. But that's why they stay away from it. But they have an overload of 8-mans or 6-man tag team matches. Like it's like a early Christmas gift for me where I cover a wrestling show that doesn't have a 6-man tag team added to it. All right, here you go. Here's the next question. What is your most prized possession? Sam, you can answer this one as well. That's a great question. I think for me, my most prized possession, I have a couple. I mean, one is definitely the press credential that I got for WrestleMania 31 when I got to cover the event in San Jose. So that's one of them for me personally. And I think probably my first guitar that I got from my grandpa is one that still holds a lot of weight to me. So those are probably my 2 main possessions that I have.
I think I have a few. it may sound a little cheesy, but I'd go with my two pets, my cat and my dog.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they mean, as you know, you've had dogs, and they mean everything to you, and they're your world. So they help you with stress. They don't even know it. Love those animals. Another thing is, my grandpa passed away a few years ago, and I was named after him, and so I got to take everything in his house that had his name on it because nobody else was going to use it. So I have a couple things. It's like a nameplate for a desk. It has Samuel Pioppo on it, and then so I got to take that. I got to take his. It's like a 50 or 60-year-old bracelet. It's like a golden bracelet with like a nameplate on it and has Sam on it in Old English. So I got to take that. And I also have a bath towel with his name on it as well. So it's just those things, it's just some keepsakes from just to remember my dear old Gramps who got to see his Cubbies win the World Series before he left. And it's just special things like that are super prized for me.
Mm-hmm. I have a lot of the stuff that my grandpa gave to me for music wise because he owns a guitar shop. He's the one that taught me how to play guitar. So there's like a lot of old CDs I have of songs that he recorded. I'm thinking one of these days I may record some of those covers on my Instagram page and share them with you guys because my grandpa wrote some pretty cool songs.
Hell yeah.
Cool. He even wrote a Christmas song that it's pretty good too, actually.
Wow.
I have to pull that out sometime. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I look back to like the first game ball that I had from winning a baseball league when I was in elementary school. I think I won back-to-back like our championship game balls. I was playing first base. Frank Thomas was my favorite baseball player at the time, so go figure. I'm taller. I'm doing the whole thing playing first base, and that was a good time. So I still have those at my crib here. And then I like to say that I guess the only other thing that I have possession wise for me that remains true is I wrote down a piece of I have this piece of paper that I took from the hotel I was staying at in Orlando a couple years ago when my shit went down and all that. And I wrote down a piece of letter just writing down what my heart was saying to me at that time. And I still have it when I need to like clear my head and reset in type of ways. And I wrote that right before I went back to Chicago. It was a really rough time during that time period. Wrote it down. Maybe I'll share that message on another episode, but I wrote down a little piece of paper just to remind myself to never put myself in a position where I'm letting somebody dictate my pride. It's more in that light. So I think that's probably one of the bigger things for me from a possession point of view. It's small, it's a piece of paper, but it means a lot to me. And what I wrote down on that paper really brought me to where I am right now, where my professional career is going good. I'm in a good place spiritually and mentally. All that shit's in the past now. All the stuff I went through, and I'm in a really good place. So that's probably the last thing I'll mention. And it's very, very sentimental. But that's a great question. I appreciate that.
Really good question.
Next question. Do you have comfort food? This is a good one. This should be interesting. I got one. I'm curious to get your answers, but for me, it's pierogies, and it's not close. It's pierogies.
I freaking love pierogies, and I don't get to eat them often, but man, a good pierogi I don't know if there's anything better.
Waterfall, but yeah.
For me, wait, what was that?
I said waterfall.
Waterfall, oh yeah. Waterfall for the win. For me, I think I'd have to go with a good old fashioned Italian beef.
Yes,
it's just one of my go-tos, and I know you're not a taco guy, but I also love tostadas, Give me a tostada and an Italian beef, and I'll never say no. Never. So those are probably my go-tos.
I'm definitely not a regular taco guy, but I will partake in a torta here and there.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe a chicken burrito if it comes my way. But yeah, I can't. You throw a regular taco in my face, is like, nope.
Get the hell out of here.
No shot.
Oh man.
All right, here's the next question. What is something besides playing music that brings you comfort? Oh man, this is not a good one. Hit me in the fields, pal. I think wrestling would be the easy answer for me. Just because it's really outside of music and sports is my biggest life escape. I think it's one of the reasons why I try to express gratitude with wrestling and what we do here with the show each week, and to remind you guys that don't take this stuff for granted, man. There's so much mystical stuff that we get in a bind all over this wrestling stuff, and we're forgetting that this is there for wrestling's here for us to lift us up from wherever we're dealing with during a rough time. It's there to be an escape for us. But outside that, I don't want that to be my answer because that's too easy to go with. For me, comfort wise, for me, I'm really into like comedy movies. I watched Wild 'N Out from the Nick Cannon show. I watched that a lot. I watched anything from Bernie Mac and Chris Rock and those guys back in the day, like the comedy specials. There's not a time throughout the week where you won't catch me watching some old clip from the Chappelle show.
Oh yeah.
The Rick James stuff, it's insane. Him being the blind, the white cake. He forgot he the Clayton Busy thing is one of the most funny things I've ever seen in my life. But the one where he's dancing in the club and he thinks he's hearing Tupac.
Oh my god.
And my ultimate favorite Chappelle skit, the player haters ball. Yeah, anytime I see someone like trolling somebody or whatever on wrestling show, you probably catch me sharing that gif of, I don't want anything else to happen worse than you, but only you. Whatever that phrase is, it's just tremendous. But I really think like comedy and stuff like that, like documentaries is a good comfort thing for me. And recently, I think over the last 5 or 6 months, I've been watching more TV shows to get me to wind down before I go to sleep. Like I'm not ashamed of this. You guys can talk shit. I don't really care. But I watch Friends before I go to sleep every night. So
my fiance freaking loves that show, man. I can't escape it.
Yeah, it's the best TV show that's ever created. Yeah. I'm a big Friends fan, so you guys can guess which character I was for the show. Leave it up to you guys. But I watch Friends every night before I go to sleep, and then I started picking up How I Met Your Mother because they had I was over the years I run into like songs that would come from that show. I never watched it when it was live during that time because I was like focused on school and shit. Yeah. I just didn't have time to watch it. But I started picking up that show, How I Met Your Mother. They say that I'm Ted Mosby for sure. I would say that I'm Ted Mosby for sure. But they have a lot of good music for that TV show as well. How I Met Your Mother is a good one as well.
That is a good one.
Yeah. What about you? What's your comfort outside of like wrestling or anything like that, or sports per se?
Yeah, I mean, sports isn't much of a comfort right now anyway, considering all my teams suck.
Yeah,
so it's more of like a stress thing than a stress reliever. But I mean, in my case, I love to hop on the old Spotify and put on a playlist that I enjoy or whatever. As my cat sneaks into my picture here.
What's up?
Besides Spotify, like music and anything, I like to listen to podcasts, different podcasts. Every Friday, I listen to the Hoots Podcast when I get to work. But other than that, I like to chill with my fiance. We usually like to watch SVU, so that's kind of like something that we could both just sit and kind of decompress over and stress over since it's so intense. But just anything like that. We like to sit down. Family Guy. We both are able to laugh to Family Guy. So that's a big thing. And then honestly, just walking my dog, it's a huge like escape. You know, you just taking a long walk, maybe half an hour to an hour or something to just clear the old head. And other than that, yeah, that's about what I like to do to just try to escape everything, you know?
Yeah. You know, I miss the times when I was younger. This is more like on the weekends. I was living next door to my grandpa's house from my mom's side of the family, the one that taught me how to play guitar. So for those who don't know, I used to live by Humboldt Park, kind of close to that United States area in West Town in Chicago. That's where I grew up. And for me, when it was the weekend times, I would hang out in my grandma's backyard. It would be like late at night, and we have like the fire pit on, or just like we had like this cool pond in the background that we have a couple chairs around it, and we just be playing guitar for like an hour and a half, just playing a bunch of shit for the Eagles and Tom Petty. That's like when I really first started to learn how to play guitar and stuff like that. And it was just a lot of fun. Like we would play like a full album from like Tom Petty and stuff like that, just off the cuff, not looking at tabs or anything. It's just a fun time.
That sounds great, man.
Yeah. Like, you know, having a time where you could like have it. You know, I'm sure you had this before. You hang out with your friends, so you got this big bonfire pit, and you guys.
Oh, I love it.
You know, and,
that's probably one of the things I should have said. Bonfire, I love it.
Yeah. Like you have those, and like I could pull up a guitar and start playing stuff from like Morgan Wallen, or I've been learning a couple new songs with Bright Young from his latest album. By the way, You Did It is probably the best song he wrote besides Mercy. It's a very good song. If you guys have not seen that one, go check it out. It's from his latest album. But yeah, like if it was me and I had a bunch of people to hang out with, I'd probably do that same thing like a Saturday night or whatever, and just start playing country songs, and that'd be a lot of fun.
Man, I gotta come by you then. That sounds great. You know, I always you play the guitar. I'm gonna learn how to do the harmonica because I've always wanted to learn the harmonica.
That's pretty cool.
I love the harmonica, dude.
Mm-hmm. I can't do the harmonica. I don't know why. It's so odd. I can't believe I play guitar. Like, let me put the camera. Like, you see, like how tall my fingers are. I got Sasha's leak fingers. I've always had this since I was a kid. I just don't understand how I could play guitar. It makes no sense to me. Anyways, that's another good question, Nate. You killing it this week, and same to you as well, Chris. Here we go. Here's the last question for the week, and this should be an interesting one here. Here we go. He says, you explained what goes into a transcript last week on the show. So run us through your process for, let's say, Edge and Seth Rollins from Crown Jewel. That's an interesting way to wrap up this Q&A session. So, oh boy,
I'm interested in this one.
I never did this before, so bear with me. I don't want to bore you guys. This is I never really explained this process, so I hope you guys can understand a little bit about it. So last week I talked about my process in setting up a transcript where like I'm making outlines and what the format the show would be, stuff like that. I do that a lot with the AEW shows where I look up the wins and loss records so I'm catching up because I'm treating it as a sport, even though AEW treats it as sports entertainment, but they like to tell you it's professional wrestling. Anyways, but with the transcript, it's really evolved for me over the last few years, especially when I first started doing it in 2014. I remember I was about to graduate from ICB when I got my first shot with between Rhodes and Steve Uhausen. Shout out to him. He got me my start in this wrestling media hellhole. So when I got into like wrestle and stuff like that, it's the art of repetition, getting to learn sequences. I have an Excel sheet of, 600 different wrestlers. And I think as the years gone by, I've really just got a grasp that a lot of wrestlers do a lot of the same stuff. Like you can't go through one wrestling match without somebody doing like a step up enziguri, super kick, rolling elbow, or rolling Lara, the fuck you want to call it. There's a lot of similar moves that you see in a lot of matches these days. But let's say we have a match like Edge and Seth Rollins. Yeah, it's a repeated match, so I could maybe guess what the sequences would look like. Sam, but also at the same time, it's a little different because they're in Hell in a Cell.
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna get a lot more detail from me from let's say like a 25-minute, 30-minute match with Okada and Omega than you would a Hell in a Cell match, just because the environments and there's more selling to it. So if you look at my transcripts, some of these paragraphs are long, but they're not just paragraphs of moves. I'm showing you the different parts of the match. So you see a match with Omega and Okada that has like 5 or 6 paragraphs, and then you see Edge and Seth Rollins that I did only had like 3 or 4 that I did for that match. It's different because they're selling,
right?
And how many times can I say, oh, somebody throw somebody into the cage, somebody throw somebody in the cage? Like, it's kind of like saying, oh, somebody hit somebody 15 times with a steel chair. So I try to make sure that it comes off visually for you guys if you don't see the match. That's the goal for the transcript. So when I type down a match, I wanted to make sure like you guys could see the match through the transcript. That's my goal. And I think I did a good job with that, especially with the Hell in a Cell match, because that's one of the best matches that WWE's put on this year from a storytelling point of view. And the counter sequences and the guys stealing each other's moves, Rollins doing the kill switch on Edge, I thought that was really nice. Edge doing the curb stomp to wrap up the match was really good as well. It was a very interesting perspective to transcribe a match like that, because I already did the first 2 days. The match at SummerSlam was a barn burner. The one at MSG was really good as well. It was one of the best rivalries of the year. So it's kind of different for like, okay, if I see a match with Seth Rollins and Dolph Ziggler, I can do that in my sleep. It's no issue. I know what that match looks like, kind of similar to Roman Reigns Finn Balor match. Like I know how that would look. And for me, with each transcript, I kind of do have like a mini scouting report in my head before I transcribe a match, and it's kind of cool process. I think this stuff like transcribing matches really is going to help me once I get into like calling wrestling matches and learn that process of storytelling, because I already got the moves all logged into this fucking big ass head of mine. And like I can really like process and explain that process. But it's like when it came to like the Seth Rollins and Edge match, it really threw me off, because there's very few times where I'm covering a match when the fan in me comes out. Like when I was transcribing the Rollins and Edge match, I had to like calm myself and like pay attention, because it was an awesome match. Like it was pulling something out of me. So I know that's a good match when I can react as a fan while transcribing the match. So it's very intricate. There's a lot of multitasking that goes into these transcripts. I love to show it for you guys one time what it looks like when I am transcribing a match. Maybe arduous process, but it takes a while, but it's worth it. I really pride myself to make sure that I type out every sequence so that the transcript visualizes what the match was if you weren't able to watch it live. That's my goal with the transcript. And some days are better than others. I wouldn't say that I'm perfect, that I get everything right, but I will say I will have this as a badge of honor that nobody can type out transcripts like I can in this business. I put in the same effort for an AEW show that I would for an MLW show or an NWA show or a WWE show. I leave no stone unturned with my transcripts, and I try to make sure that I do right by the performance in the ring and you guys, so you guys understand what's going on with the show. So it's a long process, but I do appreciate the people that do check out the articles, because I put a lot of time into it. Guys, I spend like 60 hours a week on the transcripts alone.
Jesus.
Think about that for like a regular job you guys probably have, I'm putting that much time into the website for you guys, and I do appreciate those who do check out the articles. It's a long process, but hopefully you understand what I was saying there.
Oh man, I mean, I think I could speak for anyone who reads your stuff that I could say that you are the best at it, and if you miss something, it's almost like you didn't when you read your stuff. It's literally like you're watching the match. You do a great job, man. Great job.
I appreciate that, man. I want to thank Nate and Chris for sending the awesome questions this week. That concludes our Good Brothers Q&A session. Awesome questions this week. As always, if you want to participate, all you have to do is hit us up at Twitter at Josh Lopez Media or the Hoots Podcast at gmail.com. All right, we got a couple of quick segments we're going to do here before we get to our main event of the podcast this week. We're going to start this off here talking some football. Unfortunately, some bad football, if you will. And so we're going to get to our state of the 3-5 Chicago Bears as we get here into the Hoots Podcast. And I look at where the team is right now, and we're 3-5. We're in the midst of another multi-losing streak throughout the season. And I watched the game this past Sunday with the 69ers. I always call it 69ers. But so we're in the middle of a 3-game losing streak. Year ago, we're not even in the bye weekend. It's like a routine that we're always by the bye week, and people are talking about, okay, when's this person getting fired? When this person's getting fired? And it's this typical routine that just doesn't seem to end. And I put it out on Twitter last week that it's a rudderless ship. Why am I going to continue to get frustrated and get anxiety over a franchise that just doesn't move? It doesn't get worse. It doesn't get better. It just clashes in its middle. It's like a ship that won't move. Like you're just stuck in this ocean. You're not going anywhere. It's like you're at the point of no return. And here we are. The Bears are going to be on national television on Monday night against the Steelers in Pittsburgh. Old man Big Ben in the house. I think we're getting some reinforcements. I guess things are kind of getting better from the injury and COVID situation. So hopefully everybody's dealing with their stuff COVID-wise. But right now, man, it's like there's a too prolonged issue. What's going on with now when it comes to the Bears? It's not just with the team, but it's just the way the team is covered as well. I'm going to get to that a little bit, but like, what stands out for you right now for the season, and what's your overall outlook on the Bears right now?
Well, I think you nailed it. I mean, year after year, it's like the same old story. You know, they're 8-8, they're 7-9, they're 9-7. You know, it's just the same old thing. And Bears fans want so bad. They crave a winner. They've craved a good quarterback, but they don't know nothing about that either. And I don't either, to be honest with you. Yeah. But where I stand with the Bears right now is simply whatever. Because I put out a poll on Twitter after Sunday's game, and I asked a question, like, do you still get mad at this football team? And the answer, there was a yes, no, and then there was an I just laugh option. The I laugh at them option was the winner. So, I mean, where I stand right now is just that. And I think, judging by that poll, a lot of Bears fans agree with me. It's not worth it to be angry at this team anymore because you're just sitting there week after week, year after year, and it's just the same old routine. The organization still sees green at the end of their fiscal year. They don't see any red. Fans sell out no matter what. Fans buy the merchandise no matter what because Chicago loves the Bears. They love their football. So with that being said, I don't see anything changing. As long as they're in the green at the end of every year, the organization doesn't necessarily care about winning, and that sucks. But that's where I think we're at right now.
Let me add on to this too. I think there's a coverage issue as well that I don't think gets addressed enough. I will give respect to guys like Mark Potash, who does ask tough questions and does. You want to talk about a quintessential reporter? It's definitely Mark Potash, and I'll also give shout out to Adam Hogue and Adam Johnson, do great work. And we were talking about earlier about things that we do outside of wrestling. I listen to the Hogue and Johns podcast every week too before each game. And Kevin Fishman does a good job in there. I like when they bust his chops and stuff, and they have a cool crew there. But I feel like there's a spectrum of the coverage team in the beat that covers it fairly and just does their job. And then there's other people that try to get themselves over. And anybody that watches the team, it definitely like we do. We all know the ones that try to get themselves over. And to the Jason Leisures of the world, the Pat. No, I'm not going to go on Pat. Pat's fine. I don't really have an issue with him. But Dan Wiederer is the main one for me on this list. And just because you get on their spots on ESPN 1000 weekly doesn't make you better than anybody. And I don't know. It's some periods that I like Dan's work, and then there's other times, especially the last couple weeks, where he acts like his shit don't stink. So last week, he goes on his soapbox about trying to figure out where Matt Nagy's at after he got diagnosed with COVID. First off, it's none of your fucking business. And two, how does that hinder you from doing your job? The team still sucks. His location doesn't matter, and how the game plan is going to do anything to better Justin Fields' development.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, I'm not a big fan of Waddle and Sylvie. I'll just be honest with you. I'm not. I like Waddle, but Sylvie just big time miss with me. And it's like Wiederer and Jeff Dickerson, where I never seen somebody with a position that a million people would kill to have, and acts like it's so harming to him that he has to cover the team and he has to do this and he has to do that. Anybody would kill the position to have what Jeff Dickerson has. And every time he comes on Cap's show and every time he comes on Waddle and Sylvie, it's, oh, here comes the Bears. And he makes it like they shouldn't even show up to play. I get it. I could get if it's tiring on you if you're covering a bad team and it's stressful in that point of view. I completely understand that. But the condescending tone, the my shit don't stink attitude, I don't appreciate that. Because there's people that would kill to have the positions those guys have and they take it for granted.
Yep.
And I just don't like that. And, you know, yeah, Deion Miller is cute and all that, blah, 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 but she doesn't really add much to the table. She really doesn't. And then it's really like Wiederer and Dickerson that's been grinding my gears over the last couple weeks. It's like, get over yourselves.
What do you think of Brad Biggs?
I think Brad Biggs tries to twist questions instead of trying to get an answer out of somebody. I feel like he answers two questions in one and you don't really know which one you're supposed to answer. I don't know. He has an odd questioning point of view.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just honest observation for me because I've watched all the press conferences. I'm a big Bears fan. I follow along the team. I notice the coverage and stuff like that. It's like, are we watching a press conference trying to learn something about the team, or we're in a fucking interrogation session? What are we doing here? And I want to give a shout out to the guys like Draft Dr. Phil and those guys that do like I forgot the name of their network, but you know the guys that do the Tape Never Lies stuff, the stuff on YouTube. You know what I'm talking about? I'm
not sure.
Anyways, they got like a big group, like, and I saw Steve Blue Braggs. Greg Braggs, he that's something they do there in Bear Liswell, the guy from London, George, who appears on Cap's show and stuff like that. They have a cool group of guys and they talk about team. And they point out too, like the stupid questions that get asked sometimes. And like,
oh man,
what do you want them to say?
Well, they're essentially, I mean, what I see is they're trying to set, you know, a guy like Matt Nagy up for failure. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get a hot story, a hot click, something that, you know, something that'll get Bears fans riled up more than they already are, you know?
Well, and they're the same people that'll come on Cap's show and talk about, Matt Nagy does his word salad. Well, you're asking them a fucking double entendre question. Like, what do you expect them to say?
Exactly.
And then, Hub is fine. Hub's the OG. I don't have an issue with Hub Arkic. He's fine. Mark Grody's fine too. But it's like, I don't know. And then there's this other guy like Mike Berman from NBC. I don't know.
I haven't heard much from him.
Maybe it's tone his voice something. But but like, I don't know. Maybe I'll just out of line and talking for myself. But these are observations of me, and it's like, Wiederer was on Wild and Sylvie last night, and he's talking about like, oh, we need to set the parameters of what's acceptable bar for the organization. You're a fucking media member. You don't set any expectations. You cover the team. You're supposed to inform the fans in that way, and shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, who are you? Oh, we need to set the parameters in what's good enough and whatever. All right, tell me that, because it's been what 36 years since we've won a Super Bowl.
Yep.
And nobody in the city, nobody on the beat, nobody in the organization, nobody on the radio stations can tell you what proper quarterback development looks like. So sorry if I take what Dan Wiederer and Jeff Dickerson say with a grain of salt. I'm sorry. It's what it is. And going back to the team, it's like, we all know the problem.
Yeah.
We know the problem. Okay, we got to talk about Ted Phillips and George McCaskey. And I guess the only thing we got going for us is that the team's going to move to Arlington Heights. But what about the football product on the field?
And that's the part that I don't see ever changing, though. I mean, you look at the Bears' string of, trying to find a quarterback over the years. And, that's what you need first. That's the first thing you got to figure out if you're going to win football games as an organization, because the league is different now. You're not going to go to the Super Bowl just because your defense is phenomenal. You're not the 2000 Ravens. You're not the 2006 Bears. It's just it's not good enough. You need to step one. You need to run the football. The Bears can do that, and that's, I feel like that's one of the huge bright spots of this season. It's not all completely bad, because you found a guy like Khalil Herbert, who, what was he, like a 5th round pick or something?
Yeah.
You find a guy like Khalil Herbert who's just busting everybody up right now. He's a hard runner to bring down. He runs it really well. And you got David Montgomery, obviously, who's on the shelf right now, but everybody knows what David Montgomery is. Everybody knows how he runs. Everybody loves David Montgomery. Damian Williams, he's just okay in my book, but I mean, he's still a solid, maybe 3rd down back or whatever. But 1, you need to run the ball. 2, you need to have a quarterback. And, whether we have a quarterback or not, we'll never know, because we could have the greatest quarterback of all time right now, and we'll never even know because he's a Chicago Bear. That's just the way it is. Let's say if we would have brought Brady in before he went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers,
they wouldn't make the playoffs.
No way they would have made the playoffs.
No shot.
No way. It's the same damn thing over. They got to bring somebody in who knows what the hell they're doing, and they got to let them do it. Nobody talking in his ear. Nobody talking to, giving him ideas or whatever. Get a quarterback guy who knows what the hell he's talking about, not Nagy. We thought maybe we had, a guy, but clearly we don't. Matter of fact, Matt Nagy's probably a really smart guy, but he's simply stuck in his way, his scheme, his offense, or nothing. And that's just not going to work. You got to adjust to what your players are, not to what you want. Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's really frustrating to be a fan. Obviously, you know that. There's so much work that the Bears have to do, and it just seems like no matter what, you get something done, and then something else pops out at you. So
they got a real pro personnel problem.
Yeah,
it's not. I'll give Ryan credit in the fact that I think his recent drafts haven't got enough credit for what they should be. Like, yeah, of course we can talk about the first initial stage of picks and things didn't work out with Kevin White. By the way, shout out to Kevin White for beating the Bucs last week. I love seeing that. I thought that was pretty cool. The stuff with Mitch didn't work out, but this whole thing that goes back to the media stuff too. Like the team, I never seen an organization dictated more by the media than the Chicago Bears. It's so ridiculous because the theme of the storyline is who's the next scapegoat that we gotta run out of the city. We gotta rush Leonard Floyd out of the city, and he's falling out with the Rams. We gotta rush Jordan Howard out of the team. He scores 4 touchdowns against the fucking Lions last week. And it's like every new season there's a new scapegoat we gotta go to, and it's ridiculous, man. And like what you said there, we could have Tom Brady
literally,
and we still wouldn't make the playoffs. And that's why I was laughing, because it's so painful, because it's so true.
It is.
And then we got the Steelers coming up on Monday night, and we go to the bye week. Then there's the Ravens in the Thanksgiving game. I don't really think it matters what the record's going to be at the end of the season. And guess what? Nothing's going to change.
No, it's not.
We'll still be here. Matt will still be here, and that's it.
Hey, you want a classic hot take right here, Josh?
Yes, go ahead.
MCDC Dan Campbell gonna get his first win against the Chicago Bears on Thanksgiving Day. Oh God!
What a way to lose your appetite before a holiday. Jesus
oh
Christ.
God! I'm gonna have to eat before that game.
If that happens, my God.
Hey man, I wouldn't put it past them. You know, they wouldn't know a good quarterback if it kicked them right in the balls.
No. How are we going to rely on beat reporters to tell us what quarterback development is supposed to be?
Yeah, right.
I'm going to rely on Mark Silverman and his irrational ass on the radio to tell me what a quarterback development looks like. Get out of here. All right, folks, that's our 7 on the Bears. And you can see them this Monday on ESPN. And unfortunately, we have no Manny cast, which is unfortunate. So I guess I'll probably have ESPN on mute and go back and forth with Raw on Monday.
We're gonna have to do a simulcast so we can show the people what they really want.
All right, really quick, before we get to our AEW segment this week, let's get into what happened this week in WWE really quick. And I got a couple matches I want to preview for New Japan this weekend. Combining it both in one segment, pals. So you guys see it in the description box. You guys will find it later in the timestamps. This week in WWE, we're going to go real quick back to SmackDown. Big shout out to Shotzi Blackheart. I say it on the podcast each week. You guys hear it, that you got to maximize your TV time. Regardless of what your push is or what your character is, you got to maximize your TV time. And Shotzi had 30 minutes on SmackDown last week to get herself over again in the ring. She hasn't had a lot of matches on SmackDown since she's been called up from NXT. And here we go. We got Sasha Banks in a feud with Shotzi Blackheart and Charlotte Flair being the spin doctor in the background, being the champion. I really liked how they started off SmackDown this week because, I always say that Charlotte's one of the most consistent, one of the best in-ring performers in the ring. And what Charlotte can do is so different from what other performers on the roster can do. She's so good in her character that you start rooting for the other performers she's wrestling with, and she makes them better.
Yes.
That's one of the best matches I've seen for Shotzi since her time in WWE. And I thought it was a really nice presentation and a good start-off period for her. We'll see how things go with her being a heel. I can understand that people disagree with that decision, but she wasn't really doing anything of consequence beforehand. So what was your thoughts on that whole kickoff for SmackDown last night?
I liked it. I think Shotzi Blackheart can have, a decent career here. And I think I think she's still a little green, but she learned quick in NXT, and hopefully this newfound attitude on SmackDown will help her out because I think there is a lot of potential there. I like it.
Mm-hmm. I gotta say this, and I always try to play fair with everybody. As much as the trick or street fight was bowling shoe ugly. At times, I got to give shout-outs to Pat McAfee and Michael Cole. I thought they were the saving grace in that match. I thought, oh, my God.
Pat can make any segment much
He's
better.
out of his mind. Like,
Yes.
if you look at the term "batshit crazy," that's Pat McAfee in a nutshell.
I love that, man.
Goblin.
That's another thing about Pat. I can watch him dance to Boogs playing Shinsuke's theme song for hours. I can watch it on repeat. Now I'll never get tired of it. I love it.
What else stood out for you, good or bad, from SmackDown last week?
I'm curious to see what's going on with Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
What do you think? Is there anything left for Jeff Hardy to do? Honestly, like, what do you think?
For him I'm surprised he's never actually done the Willow character in WWE. If that's something he wanted to do, I think that'd be pretty cool for SmackDown. I think they could get away with some of that type of stuff. But I had a question about this a couple weeks ago. If you turn Jeff Hardy heel, how would he make that work? Right. I said to have him turn on Shinsuke Nakamura and have them feud with each other, where Nakamura is about the art and all the flash stuff with the music. Jeff Hardy's also into music too, and he has his own type of art. Fancy bookie session right there with Joshie. Like, I think that could be an angle that could work. With, I don't think they wrestled each other before, right? So
I don't believe so. No,
that's a little something that could work, maybe. But yeah, I know a lot of people say maybe you can have one off like big SmackDown match for the world title with him and Roman. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
That's what he said he wants.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they're not doing TLC this year.
Weren't we supposed to have that pay-per-view?
Yeah, it was supposed to be here.
Yeah,
they changed their mind. So I guess
they said fuck off.
I guess they're taping 2 SmackDowns in Chicago before Christmas. So.
Is that right?
That should be interesting.
Yeah. Other than that, what'd you think of that New Day Usos? I love those two teams. Their chemistry together is second to none.
Yeah. I love the segment. First off, the coordination of Sir Kofi, I thought it was hilarious. And then Jimmy Usos is like, better watch out for I kick the crowd off your big ass. They got great chemistry on the mic. Have you guys never seen their rap battle that they did a few years back? It was gold. It was definitely more edgy and better quality than what we saw last night. Oh, I'm gonna get to that in a couple minutes, but yeah, I thought the match was good. And here's the thing too: it's a good way because you have Raw and SmackDown obviously against each other for Survivor Series, and obviously it's gonna be Roman against Big E. So you had the Bloodline naturally gonna feud with the New Day along the way. So maybe beforehand on maybe the last Raw or SmackDown, you have the Bloodline against all of New Day in a 6-man tag. I'm just throwing it out there before it goes on screen. You can see it happening. But they always have good matches. I really think SmackDown's tag division is going to be one of the breakout things from this era of the draft, because you got Hit Row, you got the Viking Raiders, you got Garza and Carrillo, you got New Day, Usos, maybe the Bar reunites.
I'd love to see that.
So I think their tag division could be really good, and it was kind of cool seeing Hit Row and New Day in the backstage segment last week. I thought that was cool. And then I gotta say this: Adam Pearce is a stooge. This complete another stooge. First off, he's a Packer fan, so that automatically makes him a stooge.
Oh man!
Unfortunately, he is a Packer fan. But I just crack up with him, like he's like doing the whole Jack Tunney thing, and he's not going to be tolerate disrespect, and he finds Brock Lesnar $1 million.
I love it. $1 million.
I thought for me this week, between the both shows, I thought Raw was better than SmackDown. Raw had a lot of good matches this week. We started off with Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's Championship. They had their continued running storyline where Becky continues to beat Bianca, but it's by nefarious means. It's just being the heel. it's a good story. They've had really good matches in this rivalry so far. You have no reason why you can see another match between those two down the road. I'm surprised this really kicked off the show. I thought this was going to be the main event of Raw on Monday, but I don't mind it. It was a really, really good match between those two. I was not surprised by Becky retaining. Shout out to Becky reaching new levels of waterfall as the weeks go by. So she's reaching Mount Rushmore territory. That's the highest category you can get in the waterfall world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was a really good match between both of them. And think about it, her having that long of time off TV, giving birth to the kid and everything. She hasn't skipped a beat at all. I think she's doing some of her best in-ring work right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, whenever I have it on and Becky's on TV, Hannah, my fiance, she'll be like, how did she have a baby? Like she doesn't. She looks better. She looks better in the ring. She looks better,
overall,
physically. She looks better than she ever has.
She's doing some of her best work right now.
Yes, she is. And that also just a credit to Bianca Belair. She is freaking terrific, man. Mm-hmm. She is so good. It is beyond belief how good she is. And for some reason, when she was in NXT, I wasn't a big fan. But there you go. Let's call out the marks right now. One person from NXT that came to the main roster, and she's better, way better than she's ever been. The main roster has served her well.
That's two people from NXT that we're talking about too at the same time.
It's true.
The marks always go on that soliloquy that every time somebody comes up from NXT, they're instantly buried. Well, if you look at, let's put Goldberg's and the Brock Lesnar's side. If you look at the WrestleMania cards over the last couple of years, 85% of them is represented by people that were in NXT.
Yep.
Don't tell me that they don't make stars. You just go to the whole fucking Sean Ross Sapp theory of the world about wins and losses, and you guys don't even follow along with that.
Right.
Don't even get me started on that shit.
It's a whole nother rant coming.
Even like that, you had Damian Priest and Dijak in the no disqualification match. That was awesome. And I trust me, all fair game. I think the whole name with T-Bar and keeping it that way is stupid. I totally agree with that. But the fact that they're giving him TV time is a good thing, and having the match he had with Priest that's one of the best matches on the show on Monday.
Yeah, it was.
So if it's something where he does get his name back, cool. I just want to see him on TV because I think he can do a lot of good stuff on the show, and he's a really good wrestler. And I like to do theme song for Priest. I like to do Edge that he's bringing to the ring. So I thought that was pretty good too.
Yeah, well, if there's one thing we know about Dijak is he can go, man. He's a really good big guy, and sometimes when you put two big guys together like that, it doesn't really clash well. But those guys have chemistry. Yeah. I dig the new attitude from Damian Priest. Wasn't expecting it, but it was Damian Priest is the man. So I think Damian Priest. I'd love to see him continue that. Down the line, man, this guy's gonna be a world champion. He's already almost 40, but damn, he's still really good. He's in great shape. He's on top of this game.
Yeah, and there's other stuff like they're kind of planting seeds for some future feuds down the road. I saw the backstage interaction with Becky and Liv Morgan towards the episode. That was interesting. One of my favorite segments of the show was the in-ring with Big E, Kevin Owens, and Seth Rollins segment. I thought that was really good from a talking standpoint from all three guys. I thought it was really, really good. Then that ended up being the main event of the show, Big E and Kevin Owens. Big E didn't forget that Kevin Owens turned on the New Day, so why would he trust him?
Long-term storytelling, pal.
Yeah, long-term storytelling. Now, don't forget about those context clues.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's interesting. What if it's something where Kevin Owens starts working with? What if Kevin Owens starts working with Seth Rollins?
That's kind of where I'm kind of seeing it heading, and I'm all for a Kevin Owens heel turn. I think he's been a babyface, long enough.
Not only you could have Owens turn and work with Seth Rollins, you could have Owens against Edge.
Ooh. Sign me up.
No.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
That'd be good. I thought there's some other stuff in the show that stood out. I thought like Street Profits, Dirty Dogs was a good match. I guess AJ Styles is dealing with some stuff right now, so
Yeah.
I was kind of wondering when they were going to split off this thing with him and Omos.
So did I.
I guess we had to hold off until AJ comes back, so hopefully he's doing well.
Yeah.
So our thoughts go out to him, and also thoughts go out to Moxley as well.
Absolutely. Best of luck to John Moxley. I've always been a fan of Mox, and I hope he can get the help that he needs, because it's one thing to know you need help, but to go actually get it, it's a courageous act. So we're all rooting for him. But what do you think of Austin Theory? I'm a fan.
I like him.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Graves has mentioned it yet, but there is some ties to what Randy Orton was doing when he first started.
Yes, it is.
When I was a kid. Not necessarily a kid. I think I was almost a teenager. That was 2004 when he first showed up in 2003. Yeah, I was like 10 or 11 years old at the time. So, Austin Theory's picking up victories against veterans. He goes after Mysterios. I wish him and Dominic had a longer match last week, but maybe they could do that down the road or something like that. I like the slow build up they're having with Austin Theory, and who knows, maybe he could build himself to the point where he could become a United States champion a few months down the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's doing some good work, and I talked about this last week on the show. I think WWE needs to reevaluate how they select the matches that they put on TV. And I think they have an opportunity to do that with Raw, with the new people they brought in from SmackDown. I understand rematches here and there, but I think they need to reevaluate how they want to format shows, and in particular the matches they choose to have on the shows.
Right.
So I thought Raw, obviously it's a 3-hour show, so not everything is going to be perfect. You know what I mean? I keep saying it, like they got to get rid of the women's tag team titles. It serves no purpose unless you're going to have a full-length women's brand show. I just don't think that title works.
Well, it doesn't work when you don't solidify two women as a tag team. Like who besides the odds couple of Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley, who do you have right now? Because you separated Natty and Tamina. You released the Iconics. There's nobody really left to challenge for the belts, and it just serves absolutely no purpose on the program.
Right. Yeah, and they don't have enough women on both shows to necessarily have that title. In the first show. Really quick before we get to our segment, I just want a couple of things I wanted to mention really quick. From NXT, shout out to Tony D'Angelo. Forget about it.
Love that guy already.
And the MVP of NXT 2.0, I don't care what anybody says, is Andre Chase. That guy is a
I think I'm gonna have to apply for Andre U.
Yeah,
Chase University.
Let's see if we get more benefits from that school than we did at ICB.
Yeah.
But and then we had Carmel Hayes, Trick Williams against Dexter Lumis, Johnny Gargano. I thought that was a good match to close out NXT. They have. I think they are doing a takeover. I think they said they're going to do that.
Are they?
November, December. So I'm curious to see what that card looks like. So NXT 2.0 is doing their thing, and then lastly for WWE, NXT UK today we have a title match. It's Miko Satomura against Ginny for the NXT UK Women's Championship. And shout out to Noam Dar, who became the Heritage Cup champion last week, defeating Tyler Bate in one of the coolest matches I've seen this year so far. Talk about transcripts. They had this thing where they do like British round match, so they separate rounds, kind of like a boxing type of thing. It's kind of cool. So you have 6 rounds, and the first person with 2 victories wins. And it's a cool concept. I really dig it.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah. But so that's Noam Dar and Tyler Bate. If you guys haven't seen that match, go check it out on the network. It's really good. And then really quick, we got New Japan Power Struggle coming up this Saturday. New Japan World. I'll be covering that event. Gotta get back to the routine, waking up early. That should be fun. I have enjoyed this break for the G1. It took a lot out of me, but it was a good experience. Here we go. Kozi Fuchida, Young Lions, and Rohei Ua against Doki and Yoshinobu Kamera from Suzuki Gun. We have another tag match here. It's Tiger Mask and GBH against Bullet Club members Tangaloa, Jado, and Gato. We got Master Wato and Taguchi and Nagata take on LIJ members Hiromu Takahashi, Bushi, and Sonata. Six-man tag team title match for the number openweight six-man tag team titles. It's Ishii, Goto, and Yoshihashi against the House of Torture, Evil, Sho, and Yujiro Takahashi. By the way, House of Torture is another new group at Bullet Club. For those who don't know, I call it the House of Shit. But God, that group sucks. Anyways, we have an Amateurs Rules match with Toru Yano and the Great Old Bum for the KLPW 21 trophy. It's the Great Old Con, but I call it the Great Old Bum. But next one we have Robbie. This one should be really good. Well, Robbie Eagles against El Desperado for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. Hiroshi Tanahashi against Kenta for the IWGP US title. That's another good one. Okada's putting his spot in the Tokyo Dome on the line against Tama Tonga. Tama Tonga beated Okada in the G1 in one of their matches. So it's a big follow-up match from there. And then the main event is Shingo Takagi, the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, against Zack Sabre Jr. Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Shingo in the G1 as well, so he's getting his shot at the title to close out the pay-per-view there. So really solid card, more top-heavy than the overall show, but Power Struggle is one of their big shows that they do throughout the years in Osaka, so I'll be covering that event on ProWrestlingTranscriptions.com.
Bookmark it.
Bookmark it, pal. On that note, it's time to give people what they want.
Oh, boy.
It's time for another stellar edition of What the Hell is Wrong with AEW. We're going to start off with Bert Carter in a 3, 2, 1. Thank you, Brother Carter, for your submission this week, my man. I've always appreciated the support. Make sure you follow Brother Carter on Twitter, by the way, at Derek Stoughton. Support his work at DerekStoughton.com. All right. What the hell is wrong with AEW? AKA, what isn't wrong with AEW? The segment that should be nominated for an Emmy. I will say that. I'm not alone. We got Sam here. His first voyage in what the hell is wrong with AEW. First off, before we get to Dynamite and everything, I want to get your thoughts on the segment. And do you understand the concept of what we do here with this segment?
This segment is legendary, and it's always been, a goal of mine to get on this segment. And what's tough about this segment for me is that, weeks prior, it's tough for me to watch AEW. And there's wrestlers in AEW that I really like. Yep. And the fact that it's tough for me to watch should tell you a little something about what the hell is wrong with AEW. God almighty, Josh. God almighty. Where do we even begin?
I've got to tell you, bro, we got a gem of a segment here. I really think we should win some type of award or something for this segment alone. I mean, it's definitely the best segment in all of wrestling podcasting, for sure. Oh, boy. I mean, let me start off with this, as we were talking about earlier. I know in this segment I've been critical and stuff about what's been going on with Jon Moxley's character and stuff like that. And I always make the disclaimer when we do the segment that I talk about the character and not the person or anything like that. I don't have personal issues with Jon Moxley. I enjoyed his work in WWE, and a lot of the stuff he's done in AEW for me, it's been hit and miss. But all that being said to the side, what he did the other day and having to announce that he's going to get himself situated and everything, I thought it was very powerful and very courageous, and I'm happy for him. I wish him a speedy recovery. And in regards to anything I say about the jokes and the cosplay, Stone Cold and stuff like that, I want him to be in the best mental space in general in life and everything like that. So I hope he has a speedy recovery and hope he gets back in the ring soon. even bum me out. I hate seeing stuff like that, especially performers that are in a high peak of their career and very important to the company that he performs for. John Moxley is one of the biggest names in AEW, so you hate to see that for anybody.
New father too.
Yeah, just had a kid. I think they mentioned it the other day that he's moving. He's in the process of moving. He had a book just come out too, and it's like I hate seeing that for anybody. So my thoughts go out to Renee and John and their family, and hope he recovers soon. I wanted to say that, and I want to start off more of the positive light this way, so we get that out of the way and we talk about CM Punk, his speech on John Moxley. Just another example of why CM Punk's my all-time favorite wrestler, and it's always been more about the person he is and what he represents more than what he does in the ring, in the microphone. And yeah, our thoughts go out to Moxley and his family. So I just want to get that out of the way first. And speaking of CM Punk, we haven't got a chance to talk since he arrived at AEW and get your thoughts on how he's been presented and everything. Looks like he's going to have a little face-to-face confrontation with Eddie Keith at their random bitch fest by Eddie on last week's Rampage episode. So, Punk cut a good promo and everything. That's to state the obvious, but overall, we're in 2 or 3 months in since CM Punk has arrived in AEW. What's your thoughts so far?
It's exactly what I thought it would be. I mean, he's there and he's there and he's there. I mean, that's about it. I look forward still. I still look forward to seeing, some of his matches against different opponents, but whatnot. But the fact that CM Punk is simply just there in your company, I mean, I expected no less. I hoped for better, but I expected no less.
Yeah, I talked about it last week. My favorite wrestler is just there. And then that's a problem. And no disrespect to Eddie, and I don't know anything about their past or their background, but it's like I mentioned on the show every week, you're a new promotion trying to gauge casual viewers. I don't know if anybody cares or gives a shit about stuff that happened 15 or 20 years ago in some backstage area in IWA Mid-South or whatever. I don't know if people really care about that stuff. Sure, it's like fans like myself or you or anybody else like hardcore wrestling fans would appreciate that type of stuff, but like they go so out of their way to cater and pander to that audience. It's like nobody gives a shit about who fought who in Budokan in 2004, and like
you're not making sense to most of your audience,
right? And yes, CM Punk and Keith would be a decent match. They have good promos. I'm sure the stuff on Rampage would be fun and whatever. But like, where are we going here? That's my thing. I want CM Punk to do something meaningful, and this is something where him and Casey fight each other in full gear. Cool. But again, it's just a one-off match, just like the Darby Allin was a one-off match. Everything else he's done since then was a one-off match. I thought he was going to get into a program with Team Taz. What's the last time Ricky Starks wrestled?
Yeah.
What else is going on with that?
And I'm not a big CM Punk guy. I never have been, but even I'd like to see like something for him. Like he's still CM Punk, despite how I may feel about him. The guy is, one of the best of all time. He's super talented, and he can make stars by himself. So I mean, you put him in a program with someone, a long-term program. I'm here for it. But so far, the way they've handled having CM Punk on their roster, it's done zero for me.
Yeah. Let me start off with the crap here, really quick.
I'm here for it.
So, of course, we got to figure out who's going to replace John Moxley in this AEW Predictable World Title Eliminator Tournament. We have Pockets against Miro. And I don't know about you. I'm kind of indifferent with the whole my God and, trying to find ways to talk seductive about his wife. Like more power to you. Good on you. You got a good waterfall. Like, yeah, brag about it. But it does nothing for me. So we got Pockets against Miro. And last time we saw Miro in the ring, he lost the TNT title to Sammy Guevara. So why does that mean he needs to be in a spot to get it title shot for the world title. I don't know. Again, wins and losses matter, pal. So we had this match, and it's like, first off, the selection of Miro doesn't make sense to me. Secondly, why is this the fucking main event of your show? Why? An 8-minute match of sticking moves, Pocket's doing his stupid fucking kicks like a fucking retard, and I'm watching this shit and like, who's benefiting from this? The Bulgarian Brute. I think JR felt so bad he wanted to call Miro Russo so bad, like he made so much reference of that. I thought that was funny, but like, no, that's just like, this is stupid match layout. Pocket's doing his stuff. I'm sorry. There's no way you could ever convince me that Orange Cassidy can be a world champion. Nope. There's no scenario in my eyes you can convince me otherwise that Pockets should get a world title shot. And this is your main event for All Elite Wrestling. Again, remember, folks, they're supposed to present Elite Wrestling. And we got a simple tune-up match for Miro so he could fight a match with Bryan Danielson. Whoopity-doo! So, like, I don't know why that's the main event when you're earlier in the show and all that social media throughout the week. Oh my God, Cody Rhodes is gonna fight Andrade and Idolo. Like JR said at the beginning of the show, this could be a match of the year candidate, pal. Then why is it not the main event? Am I stupid or naive to like they're hyping this up like Steve-O and Savage, yet they got him in the second to last match on the show? Like, what? What are we doing here? I understand that Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez formats and does basically all your work, Tony Khan, but can you figure out how to time out a show? Oh my God. Okay, cool. Miro beat Cassidy. We're gonna have Miro against Bryan Danielson. We haven't seen that before, right?
Catch Rusev versus Daniel Bryan on Friday Night SmackDown, pal.
So this match is gonna be on the pay-per-view. I'm sure it'll be a fight match, whatever. Like, I have my opinions on Bryan Danielson. He's a good wrestler, I get that, but him and this passive-aggressive attitude and his, I don't know, the whole, like, it's not his beliefs, like the whole stuff with the Earth stuff. I understand that. I don't have issue with him like that. It's just like, I don't know, it just comes off like a condescending dick sometimes. Am I wrong in that?
No, I see it too.
I don't know. That's just my opinion. But anyways, let's continue on here. Is there anything you would like to rant about as we continue on here?
It's just, I don't understand why every match needs people at ringside. It's just so damn tiring at this point. You need 5 people per person in the match at their ringside. Like, yeah. I get it. You have a big roster. You want people to be seen on TV, but holy shit. Like, you could just see how hard he's trying to make everyone happy. You know, before the ship goes down, everyone's going to be happy. And then it's just one sailor is going to fall off the ship. Next sailor. It's just a matter of time, you know? These guys, you just can't put everybody on TV at once. It's just not necessary.
They got 10 factions.
Exactly.
Like, why do we need to have like a congregation at ringside in every match? And also, why do we need a goddamn afterbirth after every single match? Oh, here comes a brawl. Here comes another group brawling with each other. So we had Kenny Olivier start off the show against Allen 5 Angels. Again, recycling something just because people are smart marks and this is what the show's booked for. We had an inconsequential match in Atlanta last year at the height of the pandemic, and that's the reason to have this match. And all right, so Olivier wins. The fact that he needs a shitty V trigger to win the match is really something. But I like Alan Angels. He does good work in the ring. He's all right. But like, what's this doing? And going back to what I said last week, if you guys have heard my thoughts on the 8-man tag last week from What Else, you need to go listen to that because it may be up there the stupidest match I've seen this year alone.
That's saying something.
And think about this: we're going into Kenny Olivier and Hangman Page at Full Gear, and you're gonna see that video package before the main event. This is your main world title program, and you got a guy coming off in a fucking marshmallow outfit. Think about that. So we have Olivier beats Alan Angels in a match that's just there for TV purposes. And I'm not more interested or less interested in this match. Sure, it'll be good, but I'm not emotionally invested into it. And I just get a vibe that Olivier is going to retain.
Yeah.
And I just think it would be stupid because Olivier should have lost the title a while ago. And I don't know about you, bro, but that did nothing for me.
Well, I mean, I'm a big Hangman guy, and you know, if he doesn't win the title, and it's really looking like he probably won't. I hope we're wrong, but I just don't see what we're doing. I don't see the hype behind Kenny Omega anymore, man. Like when he first got signed to AEW, I'm like, cool, man, Kenny Omega. You know, he's one of the best in Japan. But it just seems like he's a shell of what he was in Japan. And a lot of fans will disagree with me. A lot of my friends who watch wrestling disagree with me. But Kenny Omega, American wrestler Kenny Omega, does jack shit for me. He really, really does. And the fact that he's held the title for this long is maybe that's why I don't watch every week. Maybe that's just it, you know?
Well, it goes back to what I mentioned last week. Everything with Harpo, McFingerfuck, and the Goose Squad, everything has to go back with comedy. And how am I supposed to take your program seriously? This is supposed to be the serious sports-based wrestling show.
Right.
Top group is surrounded with a bunch of Nimrods. And I don't know. Let's see how that stuff plays out. We had FTR retain against Samurai Del Sol and Aerostar. It was nice to see both those guys on my TV screen. Decent match.
Yeah, I didn't mind it.
That served its purpose, I guess. So FTR and Lucha Brothers, one of the few matches on Full Gear that I am looking forward to. That should be a good match for the AEW World Tag Team titles. Let's see what else really quick that I did like on the show. I liked the MJF and Darby Allin segment where MJF is talking to Darby Allin, but everything after that where we need an unnecessary Sting army to come out with Sting pictures on their face. I thought that was stupid. Goes back to what I mentioned, not every segment needs 6 or 7 people involved in it. I just think that's stupid. But come on, Josh, it's for storyline continuity. Shut up. It's just stupid. I'm a booker. I know everything about wrestling lingo from Meltzer and shove it up your ass. Jesus Christ. It's about continuity and storyline development. You never worked in the wrestling business. How are you going to tell me that's storyline development?
Right.
And then this hits the cake here.
Let's hear it.
The Inner Circle Jerk and American Top Team. I swear this segment was going on forever and ever and ever. And I can tell you what, I can always rely on Chris Jericho for delivering the most shittiest segments in professional wrestling in 2021. In my opinion, they had an award. Obviously, they wouldn't do it on the Observer because obviously AEW is going to sweep away the Observer Awards in 2021. I mean, we know the drill here, right? Yep. They had a wrestling award for most useless wrestler and useless faction in 2021. For me, it'd be Chris Jericho and the Inner Circle. They're useless. They serve no purpose. And they go in this back and forth promo with American Top Team. And now, don't get me wrong, I love Dan Lambert and he's hilarious. But does anybody give 2 shits about this 10-man Minneapolis street fight that's happening in Full Gear? Can one person tell me that they care about this match?
Honestly, I think it's going to be a shit show.
Well, I don't know if it can get worse than that promo segment last night. Good God. And, Jericho's got to bring up Paige Van Zant's OnlyFans page. I wouldn't be surprised if he subscribed to it. Oh my God. I swear, man, to think of, I have the power with transfers as a transfer. I could pick and choose which shows and what segments I want to transcribe, right?
Yeah.
I saw that last night and I was like, there's no way in hell I'm typing that out. Anybody in their bright mind that thinks that Jake Hager cutting a promo on TV is a good idea is just fucking stupid.
Okay? let alone making a corny joke while he's on the mic.
And I told Brett Carter this last night. This is the prime example of TV 14 not meaning that you're going to get good television. I could have sworn that Russo wrote this segment or somebody like that for the past. This was rough. This was really, really, really bad.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. Don't mind seeing Paige Van Zandt on my screen. But nobody got over in this segment, and this segment sucked. You honestly believe that the Inner Circle are going to break up for the 6th or 7th time?
I know. It's like do or don't already.
It's ridiculous, man. Let's see what else happened on this shit show. Oh, yes. The Goof Squad brawling on the stage with Jurassic Express and Christian Cage for the 100th millionth time. And this is amazing to me, Sam. Baby faces doing concertos on the stage. Look, I can understand Edge doing that to Seth Rollins. In there is a grudge feud that he tried to play with the man's family. I understand when that's going on. It's a Hell in a Cell match. Nothing's off the roof. But you got this program where these guys have been feuding with each other for months before Adam Cole even showed up in AEW, and then doing this stupid concerto spot with a baby face.
I thought that was a little weird myself. I mean, at what point? Okay, where do we draw the line with baby faces and heels here, though?
Rules don't obviously apply to that company because watch the tag match. The referees are fucking useless.
No, that's a whole nother freaking story. God, you know how many points last night watching the show? I'm just sitting. Why are you here during the FTR and Samurai Del Sol Aerostar match? What? You have 4 people in the ring for probably half of that fucking match.
Yeah.
Come on.
The stupidest rule that, you can have 10 seconds to get out of the ring after you're tagged out. You're just saying basically you don't give shit about pro wrestling. You know, to make up your own rules because you guys can have a logical tag match if your life depended on it.
That's essentially it. Man.
And it has a lingering effect because now even FTR don't even know when they need to get out of the ring. 2 of the best tag team wrestlers in the world don't even know how to get out of the freaking ring.
Yep.
It's ridiculous, but let's see what else here before we wrap this up. I just thought that was stupid. You know,
it was stupid. I had to sit there for a second. I'm like, why? What are you doing? Why are you giving this man a concerto?
Yeah,
just kick his ass and raise your hands in the air. That's it.
Jamie Hayter defeated Andrade. A lot of interference with Britt Baker and Rebel. I thought that match was kind of sloppy.
Yeah.
More on Hayter's part, it was nice seeing Andrade on my screen. So I'm a big fan of her work. I thought she was going to win, but
so did I. I was surprised they had her take the L there.
Yeah, I guess it's more they wanted to have a heel against Thunder Rosa in the second round. So
yeah,
whatever.
Since when does that matter to them, though? Come on.
Yeah, that's a good point. So on Rampage on Friday, we got Adam Cole against John Silver and the Bunny, the Candlestick Maker against Brandy Rhodes Jr., Red Velvet on Rampage, and then obviously the face-to-face segment with CM Punk and Eddie Kingston. That'd probably be the only good part of the show. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, I wanted to mention really quick. Cody and Andrade. Yeah. Again, I don't understand why this wasn't the main event. This is the last thing we'll talk about here. Match was fine. I've been consistent on my point here in the podcast that I think Andrade is highly overrated in the ring. So, of course, Cody Rhodes match has got to have 60 million bells and whistles attached to it. You can't have a Cody Rhodes match without afterbirth. So, I don't know where this is going. Is he going to feud with 3 or 4 different people? I don't know. So FTR comes out. They're in one group, right? They're in the Pinnacle. Why are they helping out Andrade? You know what I mean? So is FTR going to leave the Pinnacle to join Malachi Black and Andrade?
Right. That I was kind of like, being a guy who hasn't really, watched it week for week. I was a little confused. The match was okay for me, but other than that, you're right about Andrade, by the way. I don't dislike Andrade at all, but he is definitely highly overrated. Cody is just Cody for me, man. he hasn't done anything for me dating back to his WWE years. I was never a big fan of Cody, but yeah, that was a little confusing for me, being a casual AEW guy, you know.
I look at this card, man, for Full Gear, and I'm telling you right now, there's no way they're getting a rat cent out of me for this pay-per-view.
No.
Not one. No shot. It's not worth it.
No, I'm with you.
On that note, that is what the hell is wrong with AEW this week. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I want to thank Chris and Nate for saying awesome questions this week. Really good versus Q&A session. I want to thank Sam for hanging out with me today.
Hey, man, the pleasure's all mine, man. This was great.
Tell everybody where to hit you up on social media and everything.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter at Second City Sam. You may or may not like what I post on there, but that's kind of my thing. So feel free to engage with me on there. I'm always willing to talk sports, wrestling, anything you like on there.
Yes, you can follow me on Twitter at Josh Lopez Media, at Joshie Lopez 94, Joshie Lopez 94 on Instagram. Hit me up. Also, I may be recording to do covers this weekend on my music page, so check that out. And by the way, go check out. There's a country artist I wasn't too crazy about over the years. His name is Hunter Hayes, but he came out with a song. It's kind of an older one he wrote, but it came out as like a new single a couple weeks ago. It's called "Tell Me." It's a very, very good song. Go check it out. You guys want to listen? I'm going to do a cover of that this weekend.
I'll check that out myself.
So make sure to bookmark ProWrestlingTransfers.com so you can see my coverage of all the wrestling shows that are going on. Leave us a 4 or 5-star review and rating on Apple Podcasts. It helps really expand the reach of the show. We're 18 episodes away from reaching 300, which is pretty cool. And make sure to hit up Brett Carter as well. Support his work at DerekStoughton.com. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Remember, be the authentic product that is yourself. And remember, nobody dictates the pace of your life but yourself. I love you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you, brother Sam, for coming on. I appreciate it. No. Hopefully we'll get to do this again soon. And thank you for coming on, my man.
Hey, man. Appreciate you having me. It was a blast.
For the hot take master himself, Sam Pioppo, I'm Joshie. This has been episode 282 of the Hoots Podcast. Right now, we're going to send out to Brett Carter for this week's edition of the Thoughts of Dericho. Talk to you guys next week. Yes, sir.